In the Dark Seeker saga of Kingdom Hearts, there are many variations of Xehanort. It gets to the point where you literally lose track of who is who and who is which version slash clone of Mr. Bald here. Today, we'll be taking a look at someone who can easily be described by two simple terms, and a very fitting nickname, those being power hunger, manipulation, and the puppet master. Who am I talking about? Well, it's none other than Billy Zane. Okay, it's not really Billy Zane, but the bastard he voiced. Enter Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness. Before we take a look at one of the creepiest bastards of Kingdom Hearts, okay, maybe not the creepiest one. I think Boldenort is the one who deserves that title. Intro! We first see Ansem the Seeker of Darkness on our second day on Destiny Islands, specifically at the secret place where we pick up the required mushroom. At this time, Ansem still does not have a body, and is seen as this really creepy looking hooded figure. Ansem's name is mentioned a few more times during the events of Kingdom Hearts 1, however he does not make an appearance until towards the end of the game. In this scene on screen right now, we see Ansem, who is quite literally about to possess our favorite knave dumbass, aka Riku, and this is the point where Ansem possesses Riku, and it is also when he manages to finally claim a body. Although at this point, he is still using Riku's body, and it's not his own, as we will see later on. The next time we see Ansem, or at this point Ansem slash Riku, is at the keyhole location in Hollow Bastion, where him and Maleficent are discussing about destroying the world with a bunch of Heartless. Ansem slash Riku also appears right before Sora's fight with the dragon form of Maleficent, and is the reason that Maleficent actually turns into her dragon form yet again. Of course, this is not the first time we see her turn into her dragon form. Think back to the events of Birth by Sleep, that also happens back there. But anyway, back on topic, Ansem slash Riku appears right after the fight as well, claiming that she was just another puppet and that the Heartless were using her from the very beginning. Finally ending his monologue with
a fitting end for such a fool.
And the final time we see Ansem slash Riku is right before Sora's fight with him. Sora defeats Ansem slash Riku, but fails to seal the keyhole, resulting in him having to stab himself with Ansem slash Riku's keyblade. Right then, Ansem appears in his true form, but just before he tries to get rid of Kairi, Donald, and Goofy, Riku manages to briefly appear, stopping Ansem and buying just enough time for Kairi, Goofy, and Donald to escape an almost certain death. And now for the final showdown. The final battle of Kingdom Hearts 1 starts on Destiny Islands. 3 fights with Ansem himself ensue, along with defeating a bunch of Heartless and, well, whatever this giant thing here is. I have no clue what it's called. Somebody fill me in the comments, please. Finally, Ansem accepts his defeat, at least for now, concluding our adventure through Kingdom Hearts 1. Diz is disguised as Ansem and is Riku's guide through his journey throughout Castle Oblivion. Although Diz tries to teach Riku to stop fearing the darkness and to master it, Riku refuses and wants nothing to do with it. Ansem himself appears twice in this game. Once after Riku's fight with Lexius, where Ansem makes another attempt at possessing Riku, which Riku just barely manages to escape thanks to Mickey, who for all this time was Riku's main friend and ally, on the empty and dark floors of Castle Oblivion. Okay, they were not dark, I just said that for the dramatic effect, okay? Riku has his final battle against Ansem in Castle Oblivion. Well, where else would it be? We're talking about Kingdom Hearts Reach Hidden Memories here, right? At this point, he accepted the darkness, but he will never accept Ansem, and with no fear at all, Riku defeats Ansem on his own, showing that after everything he is able to move on and to be himself without being anyone's puppet anymore. Ansem briefly appears throughout Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, he does nothing but basically taunt Riku about his fear of the dark yet again. Yeah, well, we haven't seen that one for a while, have we now? He also makes an appearance in Sora's part of Dream Drop Distance during Sora's conversation with young Xehanort as they discuss some of the events that happened at the very beginning of Kingdom Hearts 1, back when Sora first encountered Ansem right before his home of Destiny Islands was destroyed by darkness. Ansem appears right as Riku tells Sora to not chase the dreams and tells Riku that Sora belongs to the darkness now, that he will never wake up, and that Riku is currently in some sort of a double nightmare right before a dark hole appears beneath Riku and quite literally eats him up. Literally no joke, he just gets sucked in by this thing. Ansem once again haunts Riku. Even though he locked him away all that time ago, Riku finally realizes that there is no point in holding the darkness back. Another fight for Riku and Ansem ensues, and Riku wins. And while Ansem does appear here where Riku faces Xehanort and everyone else, he doesn't say anything and nothing really happens that's related to him. That means it's time to move on to the events of Kingdom Hearts 3, boys. Ansem randomly appears along with Xemnas outside of the old mansion in Twilight Town, just as Sora and the gang are searching for clues and trying to figure out some sort of way to bring Roxas back. Xemnas says that that's impossible and that Roxas will never be able to come back. However, Goofy is the one to realize that Ansem and Xemnas used to be part of the same person, that person being Xehanort, of course. Goofy concludes that if Xemnas and Ansem can exist separately, the same can be the case for Sora and Roxas. Indeed, Goofy was right, since Roxas was brought back the same way that these two were, which is something I already mentioned during my character stories video about Roxas. Now, Xemnas and Ansem try to mess with Sora's head in this scene, but regardless, Sora is determined to bring Roxas back no matter what. Also, in Twilight Town, we see Ansem observing Sora and the gang while they discuss the possible return of Roxas outside of our little chef's bistro, back in the realm of darkness with Aqua and Ansem the Wise. Ansem the Seeker of Darkness, who I should have mentioned was really Xehanort's Heartless by now, and Ansem the Wise was the real Ansem. With that said, let's continue. Ansem starts trouble again and tries to blackmail Ansem the Wise. When Ansem the Wise accepts to give up the info, Ansem, for literally no reason at all, turns Aqua into a demon type version of her and leaves her in the realm of darkness again. At the old mansion in Twilight Town, Ansem still tries to get info out of his former master, but Ansem the Wise gets consumed by guilt for what he did to Roxas and Naminé during the events of Kingdom Hearts 2. Ansem the Wise is saved by Hayner, Pence, and Olette, who in a way sacrificed themselves to help Ansem the Wise escape his former apprentice. And finally, we see Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness, in the very final battle at the Keyblade Graveyard, where he is once and for all defeated by none other than his puppet, Riku. With his last words, he remembers the journey of him and Riku, and he realizes that he never stood a chance, but in a way, it seems like Ansem is proud of Riku, and he tells him that it's really time to move on. That is the conclusion of the story of Ansem the Seeker of Darkness. I hope you guys enjoyed it, hope you guys learned something new, and I hope you have a good enough understanding of who Ansem the Seeker of Darkness really was. With that said, this concludes today's character stories video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.